something strange is happening in Moscow. It started quietly. No explosions, no warnings, just a slow wave of fear spreading among the people closest to Putin. On a cold November morning, a simple flower vase sitting on a grave in a Moscow cemetery suddenly triggered an emergency alert. It looked harmless, but inside was a bomb meant to kill one of Russia's most powerful men. That moment exposed something darker than anything coming from Ukraine. It showed that the real danger to the Kremlin now comes from inside Russia itself. The attack revealed cracks in the walls of Putin's power and caused panic at the very top. It forced one terrifying question. If the elites are now hunting each other, who is actually running Russia? On November 14th, the FSB announced that it had stopped an assassination attempt targeting Sergey Shoigu, the former defense minister and now the secretary of Russia's Security Council. He once spent vacations with Putin. They were seen as untouchable allies, yet someone tried to blow him up at a cemetery. The details matter. The cemetery is one of the most secure locations in Moscow. Cameras everywhere, guards at every entrance, high-level surveillance around the clock. Still, a bomb was placed inside a flower vase right next to the grave Shoigu was expected to visit. This means someone had inside knowledge, someone who knew his emotional routines, someone who knew when to strike. The FSB quickly blamed Ukrainian intelligence for the attack. They arrested several people and released a story that these suspects were acting on the orders of a Ukrainian agent named Ruslan. But the story falls apart the moment you look at the logistics. It is unlikely that random civilians or migrants could bypass security in an elite cemetery and plant an RDX or C4 device without being noticed. It would require access to restricted areas. It would require disabling cameras. It would require someone inside the Russian security structure. Ukraine also has no strategic reason to target Shoigu at this stage. He no longer directs the war. His influence has collapsed. Using valuable intelligence resources to eliminate a symbolic figure offers no battlefield advantage. Western analysts agree that this does not look like a Ukrainian operation. It looks like a power struggle inside Moscow. The rivalry between Russia's intelligence agencies has existed for years. The FSB, the GRU, and other security branches compete for influence, information, and control. After Prigozhin's death, this rivalry grew sharper. Elites are trying to protect themselves and weaken potential rivals. Shoigu represents the old guard, a man with connections, a man who knows too much. Removing him would create room for other factions. It is possible the attack was staged by the FSB to send Shoigu a message. It is also possible one FSB group planned it and another accidentally exposed it. Both scenarios reveal something important. Putin's strength is no longer holding these factions together. They are acting on their own, and they are willing to kill each other. This assassination attempt caused immediate chaos inside the Kremlin. People started asking the same question: where is Putin? The truth is, no one knows for certain. Journalists, Western intelligence, and even Kremlin insiders admit that Putin's physical location is often unknown. That is because Putin has built multiple identical offices across Russia. Every detail is copied. The desk, the walls, the curtains, the lighting, even the phones. Each office is an exact replica. It is impossible to know whether he is in Moscow, Sochi, or Valdai when he appears on camera. He could be hundreds of kilometers away from the Kremlin even during important meetings. This is not normal leadership. This is fear. This is a man who believes someone inside his circle is trying to kill him. Investigative reports revealed that Putin rarely comes to the Kremlin now. Instead, he moves between hidden residences. Sometimes he broadcasts a meeting that looks like it was filmed in Moscow, but he is actually on the Black Sea coast. Other times, he appears to be in St. Petersburg while hiding in a forest bunker under air defense protection. These identical offices were built so that even the people meeting him cannot tell where they are. It is a security trick designed to prevent assassination attempts. And the attempt on Shoigu explains why Putin uses these tactics. If a bomb can be placed next to Shoigu's family grave, then Putin believes he could be next. He trusts no one. He moves constantly. And Russia is being run from pre-recorded videos and staged rooms. This level of paranoia has consequences. A government cannot function when the leader is hiding. Ministers cannot make decisions when they are unsure who will be blamed next. Generals cannot coordinate when they suspect each other of betrayal. The system becomes a ghost government. Everything continues in appearance, but the internal structure collapses. This is what Russia is experiencing now. A country run by a man who refuses to appear in public, and a set of elites competing for influence behind his back. At the same time, Russia is facing deeper internal pressure. A confidential report written by Alexander Karachev, one of the most important strategists inside the Kremlin, warned that Russia is at risk of civil conflict. His report was leaked recently and caused shock in political circles. He wrote about weakening national unity, growing ethnic tensions, and generational anger. He argued that the country is entering a stage similar to the years before the 1917 revolution and the collapse of the Soviet Union. According to Karachev, Russia has experienced two major periods of internal breakdown in its history. Now it may be moving toward a third. His warning was not ideological, it was based on real data. Russia's economy is showing signs of long-term structural collapse. Inflation is rising, food prices are increasing faster than wages, basic goods are becoming harder to buy. Factories are struggling because millions of men have been killed or injured in the war. Skilled labor has disappeared. Companies are shutting down, and regional leaders are becoming frustrated with Moscow. Ordinary people see no leadership. They see no plan. They see no stability. They see a president hiding behind cameras while elites try to kill each other. When the public loses trust in the government, and when the elites lose trust in each other, the country enters a dangerous phase. The attempted assassination on Shoigu is not an isolated event. It is a sign that the security system no longer functions. Trust inside the Kremlin has broken down. One faction may be trying to eliminate another. One group may be trying to gain control of the future. And everyone is trying to position themselves for life after Putin. When powerful people believe the leader is weak, they stop listening to him. They prepare for the next chapter, and sometimes they try to speed up that chapter by force. The impact of this internal fight is already being felt on the battlefield. Russian commanders are now more focused on protecting their own positions than planning operations. Orders are questioned, delays are increasing, information is being leaked, distrust spreads like poison through the chain of command. The front line suffers when the elite in Moscow is fighting among itself instead of managing a war. Ukraine understands this. Every successful drone strike on Moscow pushes Putin deeper into hiding. Every explosion increases the fear among the elites. Every failure in the war opens new opportunities for internal rivals. Ukraine does not need to invade the Kremlin is destroying itself. Putin now faces a choice with no good outcome. If he returns to the Kremlin, he risks assassination. The Shoigu incident proves that even the most protected areas are not secure. If Putin stays hidden in his secret offices, he looks weak. His authority continues to fade. The elites lose confidence, regions lose control, the risk of internal conflict grows. This is exactly what Karachev warned about. Russia is entering a stage where the state becomes unstable from within. Not because of foreign attacks, but because the leadership structure collapses. This is how civil wars begin silently. They do not always start with large battles. Sometimes they start with bomb plots. Sometimes they start with intelligence leaks. Sometimes they start with generals turning against each other. Sometimes they start when the president is so afraid of his own circle that he builds identical offices to hide his location. Russia is now entering that stage. The vase bomb at Shoigu's family grave was the first visible sign of that internal collapse. The truth is simple. Putin is running from Moscow to save himself, but by doing that, he has abandoned the power that once held Russia together. The Kremlin is no longer a center of control. It is an empty shell, and in politics, an empty center is always filled by force. History has shown that leaders who hide lose their countries. They lose the loyalty of their armies, they lose the support of their people, and they lose control of the elites who once feared them. The Shoigu incident was not just a warning, it was a signal that the game inside the Kremlin has changed. The struggle is no longer about the war in Ukraine, it is about who will rule Russia next. The elites are preparing for the next chapter. Some are trying to survive, some are trying to rise. Some may even be trying to remove Putin quietly while he hides in his bunker network. This is not a stable situation, it is a country drifting toward internal conflict. Russia now faces a future shaped not by foreign armies, but by its own failing leadership. The cracks in the Kremlin walls are widening. The bomb in the cemetery was only the beginning, and the man who once appeared invincible is now afraid to reveal where he sleeps. Before you go, remember, we're completely independent. No big networks, no sponsors, and no government influence. In a world full of corruption and scripted news, your support keeps real journalism alive. So please like, share, and subscribe. It truly helps.